Hello and welcome, my spongy cephaloforms. It's SJB, and today we've got a video for noobs. If you're a noob to BTD6, this video is designed for you. If you're a pro, you might want to check out some of my other videos. So the first thing you're going to look at when you're playing BTD6 is your hero. This is the number one thing you got to think about when playing your game, because some of your strategies are going to revolve around your hero. So there's 4 free heroes in the game. There's Quincy, Gwendolyn, there's Striker Jones, and there's Open Greenfoot. And all of them are pretty good in their own way, but I'd highly recommend Open Greenfoot or Gwendolyn as your main two, but the other ones can work as well. If you're looking for buying your first hero, Sawda's probably the way to go if you're playing beginner and intermediate maps, but Pat Fusty and Adora are also very good in their own regard. Then it kind of just depends on what else you're looking for. If you're looking for different fun heroes, in addition, you can do that. So for today's video, we're just going to be playing a Monkey Meadow on hard, just regular standard. We're going to go over some basic strategies and show you guys kind of how to play the game. And we're going to talk a little bit about the lingo of the game. So you're going to notice I've got 25 bonus shield, I've got 850 starting cash, I can get a free dart monkey. All of this stuff is possible because of monkey knowledge. This monkey knowledge is an entire tree of hundreds of different ways you can basically upgrade everything about the game. And without it, we'll be at a huge disadvantage. But for all of the newer players out there, that's what they're going to have to deal with. So we're going to be playing with it without the monkey knowledge today. The best way to start off almost any game, if you're unsure of what to build, is just to build some dart monkeys. Just kind of wherever you're feeling like it. You can build 2 or even 3 all at the same time right from the get-go. And trust me, they are a very good popping power tower. So as far as lingo goes, there's kind of not that much going on, but there's a few things that I could say that could probably confuse you a little bit. First of all, there is total popping power. It's kind of like a made-up term, but it's just how many balloons in total does something pop. The better the tower, the more popping power it has. But there's also something called Pierce. For example, this dart monkey has 2 Pierce, where you can shoot through a balloon and hit another balloon. So you can pop 2 balloons with 1 shot using your Pierce. But there's also something called Damage. That would be something like a sniper would use. And the sniper can actually hit through 2 balloons at the same time. So you're going to see this blue balloon just disappear. It's been sniped, does 2 damage. So there's Pierce, which goes through balloons. There's Damage, which just goes through layers of balloons. And then there's the total popping power, which is all of that combined together. So your main goal in almost all situations is just to kind of survive as long as you can until you can afford your hero. In this case, Gwendolyn is $970, so she's going to be pretty expensive here, but she is going to be an extreme powerhouse for our team today. So let's wait until we get this money and really show you guys how everything's going to unfold here. So the beginning part of the game actually isn't that difficult. Usually you can survive pretty easily with just some low base towers, but eventually you're going to have to start upgrading things. I'm going to show you guys that in just a second. But first, let's talk about the hero. So heroes are probably the most important part of your entire gameplay in BTD6. Some of your strategies will clearly revolve entirely around your hero and how you want to play them to get the most benefits that you can out of them. Oben specifically is a really, really good magic combo tower. Gwendolyn is a really specific good tower to combine with things that have a lot of projectiles. For example, tack shooters, or even lower tier dart monkeys that shoot out like 3 or 4 projectiles can be super duper helpful for your team. What's interesting about these heroes is that they level up over time. So spending only $1,000 right now will lead to being better than every single tower in the rest of the game here by thousands upon thousands of dollars. This hero will be basically worth $10,000 to $20,000 to $30,000 by the end of the game here, and that's why it's important to get them down early. Because at the end of every single round, you're going to get experience. Basically, the way experience works is every round is going to give you more and more and more experience, and then obviously every level it takes you to go up is going to take more and more experience as well. But it's kind of cool because if you play a hero down sort of late game, instantaneously they'll probably go up like 3 or 4 or 5 rounds or something like that. So that makes it a little bit, I guess, easier to gain those levels if you didn't put your hero down right away, especially if it's like an expensive hero or something like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to combine our hero with something that, again, has a lot of projectiles. That's what we said is really good, so we're going to go for a more tax and even more tax and a tax sprayer that can spray out a ton of tax. And we're going to do even faster shooting and stuff on top of that. So the way that all the upgrades work in BTD6 are basically, once you get a 3rd tier tower, you can no longer get a 2nd cross path. So you can only, in its entirety, You get 2 different cross paths on a tower, and once you get them up past 3rd tier, you are locked into that cross path for the rest of the game. We can no longer upgrade this, we can no longer upgrade this. We have to go for the 4th tier and the 5th tier of this type, and there's nothing wrong with that. So there's a ton of different bloon types in the game. This is the first one you're probably going to notice. It's a camo bloon. And camo bloons are interesting because they cannot be seen regularly by any towers. You specifically have to get a tower that can see it, like a ninja, or you have to get upgrades for it, like a dart monkey with enhanced eyesight. Camo bloons come out on very specific rounds. 24, 33, 36, 37, 42, and then a lot more beyond that. But those are your first big camo levels that are going to be kind of major issues for you that you're going to have to get that camo popping power for. So there's a lot going on, obviously. There's a lot to talk about with this game. There's actually almost too much to talk about with this game, trying to give you kind of a beginner's perspective while also showing off some fun, interesting, cool strategies and all that stuff. But I'm going to do my best for you guys because we've got another bloon coming in here that's going to be a big problem for us. We're talking about lead balloons. So lead balloons are kind of a problem because not that many towers can actually pop them. You need either an explosion or a fire tower. Luckily, our hero already pops these lead balloons, but if you ever are just like, oh crap, I need lead popping power right now, easiest bet to go for is a cannon or a mortar, and I would recommend a cannon over anything else. But there's obviously a lot of other towers as well that can pop lead balloons if you get the right upgrades for them, but you're going to have to kind of discover them for yourselves and learn the best way to play with them. So the idea of BTD6 is basically to get the most expensive tower that you possibly can as soon as you possibly can, in my opinion. Because the higher tier your tower is, the more expensive your tower is, likely the better it's going to be. Spamming 100,000 dart monkeys is going to be much less good than just getting a single 4th tier tower or a single 5th tier tower. And then probably spamming like 10 4th tier towers won't even be as good as spamming 1 5th tier tower, even based on price and stuff like that. So ninjas are probably your #1 easy camo detection that you're probably going to have to get used to here, and this is a strategy that I'm going to recommend to every noob player ever in the history of existence. What you want to do is you're going to want to upgrade your ninja up to 4th tier Bloon Jitsu with Seeking Shuriken and Caltrops, and then I'm going to show you guys we're going to alchemize him with this other tower here, which is going to be a very intriguing tower to combine together with our team. But before we get too far, you guys are probably wondering, well, Chris, I'm stuck. I can't buy the 4th tiers. I can't buy the 5th tiers. I don't have the experience to make that all happen. I did not want to start a new game today because it actually makes it a little less fun on showing things off and all that other stuff. And I think people, by the time they get 2 or 3 games under their belt, they'll probably get most of the upgrades unlocked. But just in case you're curious how experience works, you can look at each individual tower's experience up at the top corner here and basically use that experience to buy the upgrades individually. I would recommend, in most situations, kind of buying them down the line here. Don't try to jump all the way to a 5th tier with some sort of other things. Always try to go bottom tiers all the way up as high as you possibly can. So here we go. We're going to go for our... Oh my god, I'm sorry. My puppy is barking for some unknown reason. But we're going to go for a Bloon Jitsu here, and we're going to be going for that Alchemist that I was telling you guys about. And I'll show you guys how I want to upgrade that in just a second, but let's continue with this experience talk really quickly. Oh my god, what a derpy dog, dude. She's barking at nothing. She's barking at air for no reason. And continuously at that. Anyways, so let's continue with our experience talk really quickly. So experience is going to be for each individual tower, and the way that's going to work is every single round is going to give you a certain amount of experience. Every round is going to give you more experience than the last, so the higher rounds that you're playing, the more experience you're going to earn. And that experience is basically in a giant pool, and that pool will share down into individually every single tower based on how much money you have spent on that tower. So these cheapo dart monkeys are going to, of course, not be very much money involved at all. They'll get much less experience in total than, of course, our 4th tier, almost $4,000 tax screw over here. And it does not matter if you have a hero or not. That is not going to go into the pool at all, so don't feel bad about building a hero and thinking you're getting more experience or something like that. Definitely always build your hero, and then spend your money on whatever tower you want to level up or get experience for. So in this situation, we're going to go for our Bloon Jitsu, and we're also going to go for our Alchemist here. Now, this is important. I want to explain Alchemists because they are probably the weirdest tower in the entire game here, and they definitely are going to make your game a lot easier if you use them right. You want to use Alchemists on pretty much any tower that's going to have a lot of projectiles shooting out of it, because The first two don't matter all that much. We're going to get lead popping power for it, which is nice, but not required in any situation. But once you get up to this third tier, throws a special brew to nearby monkeys, giving them extra damage, range, and attack speed. Now, damage we talked about earlier, that's when you go through more layers of bloons. So chopping a zebra, not just do a black and white, but chopping a zebra all the way down into pinks, or even lower than that, could be unbelievably helppful for your popping power. Because I don't think a lot of people understand this, but damage is almost exponential. The way the bloons are going to pop in here is going... you'll learn really quickly as far as where the bloons are going to come from, but it's going to be a Moab, down into a ceramic, down into a rainbow. Rainbows pop into zebras, zebras pop into blacks and whites each pop into pinks. Then the pinks are going to go down into yellows, greens, blues, and reds. But what's interesting is a rainbow is going to pop into 2 zebras. Those 2 zebras are going to pop into 2 blacks and 2 whites each. So now we have 4 bloons from a single bloon. But if you can just chop through with damage, you can skip the rainbow layer and the zebra layer and the white and black layer and drop all the way down into pinks with just 3 damage. So if you're doing 3 damage, you're actually popping like 5 or 6 bloons. So damage can actually be almost an exponential growth in damage overall, or popping power overall, which I think is important because a lot of damage means a lot of popping power. So when you get this Berserker Brew, giving extra damage is big money. And then, on top of that, you get that extra range, you get that extra attack speed. Like, that's not bad at all. Then, even on top of that, you can go even bigger, which gives you even more powerful effect on that target, and it lasts even longer. So we can get a lot of stuff going on in here. The number 1 and number 2 towers, in my opinion, that you should almost always alchemize whenever possible, is an overdrive tack shooter, or just tack shooters in general, and ninjas in general. Usually your 402 ninja, though. This other sticky bombs and stuff really aren't that important for it. So definitely go for this. This is the number 1 easiest, best tower in the game, and best tower combo in the game for newer players to test out. And of course, once you kind of get going in there, you could be like, you know what, my ninja's really, really good, but it's not your go-to everything pop, where you still need to build other things, and you can experiment and test out and see what you want to use to make sure you're going to be doing a good job here. So now that we've got a lot of popping power in our team, we can start talking about other things like making money. Now, I am a greedy mofo. All right, I'll be the first person to admit it. I like money, and the best way to make money is by spending money, specifically in BTD6. There's actually a wide variety of ways to make money. There are banana farms, and you can upgrade all of your banana farms into interesting different banana farms. My number 1 banana farm for new players to test out is a 0, 2, 3 banana farm. This is going to be a valuable bananas marketplace here, which is going to be the most effective marketplace you can get. And the cool thing about this guy is you don't need to worry about bananas flopping out. Because for other banana farms, if you build that banana farm, you make bananas, but you have to collect them with your mouse. And it can be really easy to either not click on those or miss it or whatever, and it can get kind of annoying. So getting a nice 0, 2, 3 banana farm is fantastic, but you can also go for that 2, 0, 3 banana farm and not feel bad about it at all. Get those 2 guys, and let me tell you, you're going to be rolling around in money very, very quickly. Basically, banana farms pay for themselves in approximately 10 rounds, okay? Give or take, depends on your upgrades, depends on everything, depends on the difficulty, but give or take, a rough estimate of 10 rounds. So, for example, if you build a banana farm on round 10, that banana farm will pay for itself by round 20, pay for itself twice by round 30, 3 times by round 40. You've like tripled, if not quadrupled your money. And on top of that, you can use that money to spend it to make more money with more banana farms. So you can really get an exponential growth of money using banana farms in effective ways. But there's also another really cool and very good way to make extra money, which I recommend for all newer players to almost always get, and that is a bottom path Alchemist. Now this guy's really, really clutch right around round 28 if you can get a lead to gold, because that's the first time leads are going to come out. You'll get instantaneous lead popping power. That's pretty awesome. And you'll make an extra 50 bucks off of every single lead you pop, which is pretty gosh darn fantastic if you ask me. But on top of that, you can go even further and go to lead to gold, because this is going to be kind of like the number 2 best way to make money in my opinion. He basically pays for himself faster than just about any other thing that you can buy here if you put them on stuff effectively. So all of my towers so far have been on first, except for this guy. I put him on strong, and you guys probably didn't notice. I just left everybody on first here. We just kind of let them do their thing. Not everybody has a targeting, but you can put first, strong, close, and last. And that could be kind of confusing on exactly what you should do with most of your towers. And when in doubt, leave them on first. It's going to be good enough for most newer players to just leave them on first. But if you want to be more effective with your towers, like this guy, we want him to hit the balloons before anybody else pops anything. Because what he's going to do is going to throw a potion on the balloon. And then after that potion affects the balloon, we get more money off of that balloon. So we want to pop it after we rubber to gold it, obviously. We want to make more money after we do that thing. But also, you have to worry about it because it doesn't, you know, rubber to gold Moab class balloons. You have to kind of wait until it's ceramic, so you have to find that nice, sweet spot. But let me tell you guys, this guy, he's not going to get a lot of pops. He's going to be a support tower, but he's going to make you so much money, you're going to be able to build almost anything you want in the entire game. And let me tell you, it's going to be fantastic. Now back to targeting. There's a couple things that I would highly recommend for you guys, just general targeting rules. I would say cannons in most situations go on close because they tend to miss a little bit with their big bombs. In addition, cannons usually want to go closer to the map than further from the map. And then snipers in general will go on strong, but certain snipers can still go on first and be kind of okay. And it's because they do damage. This damage is going to hit those high-tier big balloons and knock down their entire layer and just get rid of it. Like these rainbows turning into red balloons from this shot right here, which is pretty freaking fantastic. And then you have nothing really left to clean up, so that's fantastic. As far as other targeting goes, there are a lot of different versions of targeting. For example, Dartling guns, you're actually going to have to aim if you want to, but you could just kind of lock him in place if you wish. There's other things that don't really have targeting, like ice towers and tac shooters and things like that. But those are the kind of basic rules. Cannons usually go on close. Snipers usually go on strong. And then things that go in the front, like glue gunners and or alchemists, usually go on either last or strong. Kind of whatever you're feeling, right? You know, last or strong. I usually go last, but other people like strong for some reason, so that's cool too. Now we've got a pretty good overall combo, but we still have a weakness. Camo leads are coming out on round 59, and this is not the only time that you should be thinking about this, but definitely by this point in the game, you should be thinking, I need a village. Not only do you want towers that can pop things, but you want towers that can support you. So we're going to go for a village. We're going to go for a radar scanning village, and we're going to get that bigger radius and juggle drums. This is your go-to easy, always use it village. No matter what, get this puppy going and put him in near as many towers as you possibly can. You can see if they've got the buff by just clicking on your tower and kind of looking at all the different buffs he's got. It's got a village buff, it's got the jungle drums buff, it's got the radar scanner. What this is going to do, increases the attack speed of all of the monkeys inside of your radius. And then this is also going to give you camo detection. So camo balloons will no longer be an issue at all as long as you put your towers inside of this radius right here, which is definitely pretty freaking sweet, if you ask me, dude. So we talked about support and things like that, but are there really different types of monkeys? Indeed, there are. So there's 4 different types of monkeys. They don't matter that much, but if you're doing things like boss balloons and stuff like that, especially the dread balloon, you're definitely going to have to understand this and know kind of a lot of details about this. But these blue monkeys over here are primary monkeys. They're kind of the cheapest monkeys in the game, kind of in general. They're definitely not like ineffective or anything like that. They're still pretty effective overall. So definitely watch that. We're going to go for our quick cluster bombs with bigger bombs, heavy bombs, because around 63. I'm going to talk about 63 in just a second, even though I'm beating it right now, because it's probably going to be the round that kills a lot of newer players in this game. I'm going to tell you how to beat it in a super duper easy way in just a second. Let's finish talking about our different types of monkeys. So the primaries, again, are the blue monkeys here. Generally effective in most situations, but once you get to like a late game, around 80 plus, they start to fall off a little bit in some situations. Military monkeys are probably the favorite of most players in the game. They've got a lot of different versatility to them. A lot of them have unlimited range, which is really cool. Snipers have unlimited range, Monkey Ace unlimited range, Heli Pilot also unlimited range, Dartling Gun kind of unlimited range, and the mortar you get to place wherever you want. I love the mortar, but for newer players, stay away from this guy. This guy will make you very upset. Trust me on that, you're not going to like him. Then there are the magic monkeys, which are super effective and combine well with a lot of other really interesting towers, specifically Oben as a hero. And they're just generally really good overall. But these two guys work really weird because they require you to stack themselves up to 20 times on top of themselves. And these guys require 5 other Poplush Druids to make sure you're kind of like doing a good job. So it becomes a bit of a spam fest where you're just kind of spamming the exact same tower over and over and over again, and it can be less fun for a lot of newer players, but it's also a pretty good strategy, so it's kind of up to you if you want to test those out and see how well it's going to work for you. But all of them are very, very fun. Alchemist doesn't fit very well in the Magic Monkey section because he's definitely more of a support monkey, but he still is a Magic Monkey for some reason, so use him as you desire. All right. And then there's the support section, the orange monkeys. It's got banana farms and villages, which makes a lot of sense for support. Banana farms make you tons of money, and villages support all of your towers in range, which is also really important. And then you've got the Spike Factory and Engineer, which are decently supportive towers, but also they do kind of a lot of popping power too, so like don't feel bad about that. Now you're going to notice I've got $36,000 over here. That's a lot of money to save up on hard. Like, I should not be letting this happen. In any situation, whenever possible, you should be trying to spend all of your money, or spending it all in banana farms or other ways that you can make money so you can have even more money so you can build other better defenses later. Being efficient with your money is really, really important. And what I'm going to do is, in every single situation that I can, I love to try to save up for 5th tier towers. 5th tier towers are what make the game easy. If you can save up and if you can get a 5th tier tower, you are going to be golden. And the easiest, bestest, noobiest 5th tier tower in the game is the Taxon. And I hate to say it's for noobs, but dang does it make the game easy, guys. The only thing he doesn't have is lead popping power. So as long as you have something else that can pop leads, you're probably good. And that, of course, doesn't include Chimps mode and other game modes where DDTs and stuff start to come in play, but even then, he's just a good tower. And then you could power him up with primary training as well from your village, and even further for primary mentoring. And he's got basically ridiculous amounts of buffs and super power-ups. And then if you want to go cray-cray, you could say, hey, Chris, we noticed that you like Alchemist, and Alchemist power-up tax shooters really, really well, so let's power this guy with an Alchemist and make him unstoppable. Yeah, kind of, pretty much. That's basically where we're at here. Tax Zone, unstoppable. This is the team. This is the team. We will easily go through round 80 without any issues for the rest of the time here, but we still want to show off and make sure we're doing a good job. You see this Alchemist really starting to show off his prowess here, insta-killing these leads and making a couple $100 every single time we pop a bloom. That's pretty cool. And still rubber to golding over here. You could argue that going 2 or 3 rubber to golds is probably still effective for your team, just like going for 2 to 3 banana farms is probably more effective than your team than going for one of them. But I like to go just 1 max, personally. I don't think it's worth it. I would go 1 rubber to gold and then start spending the rest of my money on banana farms because they're just more simple. Easier to put down. I don't want to say that I'm like the best BTD6 player ever or anything like that. I don't want to tell you guys that I am unbelievably powerful and unstoppable or anything like that, but I think I do a pretty good job of explaining kind of the basics of the game. Once you get the basics down, you can start to explore the other towers and the other options, because there are, I believe, 22 monkeys in the entire game here, and there are 5 different, or 5 total upgrades you can get, and 3 paths you can get. So there are basically 60-something different 5th tier towers you can go for, and that doesn't include the 5th tiers with different cross paths. That leads to at least 120 different options of towers that we can go for in our game, and of course that doesn't include placement, targeting, and other stuff. And that's why some people say that this game, you know, tower defense is like boring or like not that fun or something like that, but this really does get intriguing. You have a lot of different options, and you have a lot of different combos, and those combos and those options are what makes this game fun. Figuring out what works, what combos work, and what everything does together is just amazing. Certain things specifically don't work well with each other, and that's kind of weird. The Ice Tower, I would say, is kind of the embodiment of be careful what you're doing with the Ice Tower, because he can actually be a negative tower in some situations. A lot of these other guys, almost no matter what, they're never going to be a negative to your team, but I could see it every once in a while just somehow being somewhat ineffective. You're noticing my Tax Zone, of course, doing a great job here. He's just kind of like a regularly buffed Tax Zone. You can see the buffs kind of on everybody over here. We're getting some Gwendolyn buffs and some other crap over here, and this is all just making my tack shooter just kind of unstoppable at this point. But it does not mean that everybody else is not doing anything. So you can kind of look at your pop count to see how well your tower is working, and that's something I definitely recommend doing. Don't put all your eggs in one basket for popping power in total, because it does not tell the entire picture. But it is a great way to understand whether or not your tower is doing very little for the amount of money you spent, or a lot for the amount of money you spent. For example, my tack zone gotta be my, like, best tower in the game right now. We've had him for almost the entire game. He's been doing a good job the entire time. He's got 42,000 pops. But you look at the cannon here and you're like, whoa, Chris, you spent like $3 grand on this guy. He's got 33,000 pops. This guy cost $20,000, only got 40,000 pops. Well, shouldn't I just spam like 18 cluster cannons? Maybe. Try that strategy out. See if it works for you, man. You might be surprised. When you look at these dart monkeys, you're like, dang, Chris, you said that spamming 100,000 dart monkeys also would not be very effective. Well, clearly you are wrong. He's got 3,000 pops for the money. He's actually more effective than the tack zone. True, true. He's been around a little longer and things like that, but dang, that's actually pretty important. Gwendolyn, 41,000 pops. Also, keeping up-ish with the tack zone. Been around a little longer, but all right. And then the Ninja, the highest popper in the game. Well, that's why I no matter what, recommend Ninja to everybody. Get a 402 Ninja, get an Alchemist, and you're going to be very, very happy. You can make him even stronger by going 420 as well, or you can hit more of these guys by going with the bottom path. But I don't want to confuse anybody too much over here. I just wanted to show you guys kind of how this is all going to go down. So we're kind of in the last bit of the game here. You're going to notice that things are going down pretty easily, and it's mostly because we kind of used a lot of buffs on a couple few select good towers in the game, and we tried to get a 5th tier as fast as we possibly could, and with that 5th tier, we're going to carry us. And that is one way that you got to think about this game when spending all your money is actually not the correct way to play this game. I know I said spend as much money as you possibly can, unless you're planning something out, you're thinking ahead, and you're planning out what is my next 5th tier tower going to be. How much money does it take to get it? So I've only been talking about $20,000 5th tiers, but there are some expensive 5th tiers in this game. $86,000, $64,000, $58,000 for some of these Dartling guns. Once you get a Super Monkeys, 540, 97, and 216. Like, clearly you're not going to be able to get those very easily. Spike Factories also, 162, 43, and 32. Like, there's a bunch of different kinds, but they can get really, really pricey. If you're looking for the cheaper guys, generally you're going to find those in the primary section, but not entirely. There's also some cheaper snipers out there, like this 15K and 15K sniper. Tack shooter has the Maelstrom for 16,000. Glue is actually really cheap, 23, 16, and 30. Those are not bad at all. But again, they're just kind of like all over the place. You really have to like see what you want to go for and try to plan out what is going to be the next best tower for me. So we're coming into the end of hard mode. This is an easy map on hard mode, and we have $54,000 saved up at the end of it, and we still own it. Why did we make that look so gosh darn easy? Well, it's because we were somewhat efficient with our money. We made a little extra cash, but we didn't go crazy with our banana farms. You know, I mean, like I said, since we got these guys around, what, around 40 or so, they basically paid for themselves times 4. He's already got $12,720 in there, $13,000 out of this guy. So actually, he's only about double paid for, I guess. But if we sold him, then he would be triple paid for. Not bad, not bad. And now we have to start thinking about what I call free play. So after round 80 becomes free play. It basically just lets you go into the game, play to your heart's desire, and see where you want to get. But there are 2 game modes, Impoppable and Chimps, that force you to go to round 100. And this is a great way to practice for that game mode, because those are getting pretty difficult. Alright, late game, BTD6 gets pretty wild. 1 to 80, I think it's manageable on almost any game mode, any round, no monkey knowledge, like, it's not that bad. But once you get to Chimps, things get wild. You specifically get all of your monkey knowledge taken away. Then on top of it, you have to figure out how do I just survive round 6, 7, 8, and 9 without any extra help, just like dart monkeys and tack shooters and boomerangs and things, maybe an engineer in there. It's very difficult to do. But as you get to these guys right here, the balloons are going to change. Okay, and that's actually very important to know. These ceramics that are coming out here are now officially called super ceramics. And these super ceramics have more layers on top of them. But because they have more layers as the ceramic, they actually make it slightly easier on you. Every single ceramic, instead of popping into 2 rainbows, and then those 2 rainbows popping into 4 zebras popping into 8 blacks and whites, instead, we just straight up go from a ceramic down to a rainbow, down to a zebra, down to a black. I believe it's a black, might be a white, down to pink and a yellow, and so on. So each one of those ceramics, the balloon level is actually quite easy to deal with, but the ceramic level is now the hard part. So you have to make sure you have the right towers and the right combos to deal with that, and that's usually where the ice and the glue start to come into play. They will help you out a lot against these super ceramics. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a balloon solver. All right, cross paths. Again, test them out, see what's going to work for you. Generally speaking, Ninja Kiwi has made it so cross paths, it's not that they don't matter, but they have tried to make them so they're about equal value. So if you get your 5th tier and you're figuring out, oh crap, I got the wrong cross path, it's probably not entirely true. There's probably a better cross path for your situation, but it's not like you screwed up the entire game by getting the wrong cross path. For me in particular, I usually go stronger glue. I like that on my balloon solver here. But this guy's going to be decent against Moabs and then just absolutely demolish them ceramics inside. But we have a big, beefy, crappy, terrible balloon coming in here that we have to deal with. The DDT. Now, the DDT are the bane of any new player's existence. It will not be easy for you to pop the DDT. But I want to show you guys a tower or 2 towers that can deal with this fairly easily. Your number 1 easy tower to go for these days is going to be a bottom path 5th tier wizard. Alright, so we're going to go a Prince of Darkness. Usually with a Prince of Darkness, I like to go Guided Magic and Arcane Blast, but that is not the only way to play it. And what's cool about this guy is he built up a graveyard. Basically, any balloons that pop inside of his range, you're going to see this graveyard to start to go up, and it's going to max out at 3,000 balloons popped. Once we get that graveyard going up big, we get bigger, beefier balloons to kind of fight against the grain of the existence of the map here. And he's just basically going to annihilate all DDTs and clean up pretty well a lot of the other balloons in here. So I don't know if our team's going to be good enough without this guy. I mean, Solver's not bad. A couple other guys aren't bad over here. So yeah, we don't even really need this guy. He's definitely already done some pops, though, for sure. 15k already. But he is like my number 1 guy to go for if you're ever like, oh crap, I don't know what to get, DDTs are coming up, how do I deal with these things? And the reason why they're so problematic is because they have black properties, which means cannons don't really work very well against them. It's got camo properties, so you have to make sure that you've got your village going on over here, or have camo detection. And it's got lead properties. So that means that other things, like usually piercing taxotes, don't hit them either. Luckily for us, we have alchemized him, and the 2nd tier of this guy allows you to hit leads, but it's got to be activated at the exact same time, which is not always activated here, which means, it might not be that great. So anyways, DDTs come out round 90, round 93, round 95, and round 99. So you have to wait all the way to the 90s, and they're only on... besides around 90, they're on odd rounds. 93, 95, 99. So that's a good way to understand what's going on with them. Clearly, we demolish them. Another tower that I would recommend for the DDTs, again, going the wizard style, but I really like the Archmage for DDTs. He's not necessarily the best tower all around, but again, he is a DDT popper, so if you want to get something else, man, Archmage is the way to go. Personally, I like to go Intense Magic and Monkey Sense, but if you got him next to a village already, not bad to go for a Fireball Wall of Fire over here, alright? And you can kind of move these guys around a little bit. So I have not talked much about kind of the last thing that I want to talk about in this video. Alright, I have not done any... I have not done very many middle path towers in this game. You're going to see around 95, usually a big problem for a lot of players. We destroyed it! No problem at all. I didn't even make it past this zone right here. The last thing I want to talk about, though, is abilities. So your hero is going to get 2 automatic abilities in the game, so you probably already figured out that abilities exist. But you can use these abilities to kind of get an extra little bonus of pop and power right when you need it. And if you get enough abilities, you can kind of combine them together in fun and interesting ways. I don't want to say that one ability is better than all the other abilities or anything like that, but my go-to for newer players, especially because it's cheap and kind of easy to use, is going to be a Maelstrom or a Super Maelstrom. This is like, oh crap, there's too many balloons on the screen. I don't know what to do. You just use a Maelstrom, you kind of blow a bunch of blades around you, and you're going to get a bunch of stuff over here. You can use a Super Maelstrom to do that, but like times 10 or so? I don't even know. But you got to remember, every time you use an ability, it's got a cooldown. So you're really going to have to time that ability properly, or you could run into some major issues where you use that ability kind of right at the end of a round or something like that, and you're like, oh wait, I need it for the beginning of the next round. I'm not going to get it back. For all of the abilities, they're going to have different cooldowns. So they range from about, I think, 30 seconds to about a minute and a half. But most of them are between 40 to 50 seconds for most abilities. So feel free to use them at your own heart's desire. Super Maelstrom specifically is one of the shortest cooldowns in the game. That's why I like it a lot, because it's like almost like you get a consistent, constant ability. It lasts about half the time. It's gone for a tiny, tiny little bit over here. And by the time you're like, oh crap, I need it again, bam, you already get it back. That's why I like Super Maelstrom. Plus, it doesn't have a direct weakness in almost any situation. So here's a couple more DDTs we're going to have to deal with, but we got two really good DDT popping power towers. I'm not worried about them at all. But then we get the bad. So this is where things can get tricky, all right? If you're going to die in a lot of situations on Unpoppable or Chimps, this could be the guy that takes you down. It's the bad layer, or the bad Bloon. He's got like 20-something thousand health, compared to his, oh my god, having like 4,000 and a Reinforce having 8,000. So this is more than double the highest Bloon that you've ever fought so far. More than double. That's pretty absurd. Usually the best way to take these guys down is something you've already built already, something with a lot of projectiles. So that's why I like Tack Zone, because he's going to have a lot of projectiles. You're going to see the damage just kind of going up pretty hard over here. On the bad Bloon and the other Bloons inside over here. And of course, we kind of got a pretty decent defense with everything else over here, and we are able to take down that bad without too many issues. After you go past round 100, you're technically into real free play. This is like a non-real round in any existence ever, and you can kind of have fun with it and just see how late you want to go. Now, if you're playing hard, pretty much any game mode besides Unpoppable or Chimps, you probably don't want to play all the way to round 100 unless you're just having fun and testing things out. It's not good for experience or anything like that. You're better off just earning medals. Earn your medals, and that's the best way to level up your entire game. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop back into the kind of center location right here and talk about just a couple things that you can do with this game. If you're having fun, the number one thing that I recommend to all players is just to earn medals. Okay, you've got easy, medium, and hard, and you've got tons of different medals for all of these guys. They give you a bunch of monkey money, a bunch of experience. Easily going to level all your guys up. Number one way to play the game. If you want to have some fun with it, once you've got kind of everything unlocked, you can start to play other things like the events. So the events are on the right side of the screen here, and there's a lot of them. There's races, there's odysseys, there is the collection event, so you can just kind of earn those things by getting medals. And then there's contested territory, so you can play as a team with other people and kind of like do weird little challenges and stuff like that. And then you've got the boss Bloon, which is fairly difficult, but once you get going with this guy, he gives you so many things, it's ridiculous. So have fun with those guys. If you are interested in doing something else, there's also playing social, so you can play co-op with your friends, which is really, really cool. You could do quick matches or host your own, so you can kind of like use your real life friends, if you have any of those out there. And then there's also the community section. So a lot of people don't even see this thing. They like kind of hid it, but the content browser is over here, and there's billions of freaking challenges that people have made, and you can play and kind of just see how difficult they are and just kind of have fun with them if you're interested. So, I know that I've ranted a long time today, but if you guys enjoyed this noob video whatsoever, hopefully you now feel a bit more like a pro. If you do feel more like a pro, please press that like button, please subscribe, and of course, you guys know it. Have a super duper delicious day.